Okay, I hope you liked part one. Okay, I'm gonna put it right here, much closer to my altar. I gotta light the candles. My altar was make a little nice. Yeah, okay. I hope you liked the part one. We're gonna jump right in and finish part two. Okay. Now, like I had mentioned before, Aries represents the expanding universe. I know I made an analogy of the sun. That's one aspect, and I can do that because it's a fire sign, and the sun is a globe of fire, right? And we're gonna go deeper into the sun as a globe when we talk about Leo, fixed fire, the fireball that's there in space, illuminating our solar system, our particular solar system. That's Leo, but the expanding universe of lights and constellations and galaxies. All of that is Aries. Aries represents the Milky Way galaxy. And we are a microscopic speck compared to the grandness of the Milky Way galaxy in which we belong in. The next door galaxy is Andromeda. So we are, and they're huge galaxies. And we're like a microscopic speck. Okay? A microscopic speck in the grand scheme of things. So the fire of Aries is too, it expands, it's huge. You can't fathom it. And that's the psychology of Aries. So imagine being with a man like that, that's otherworldly, that is constantly trying to expand and conquer the cardinality of Aries. You gotta be a bitch that's right there along with him. Because if you're not, then you're going to be left behind like a straggler. Then that might not be the man for you. So maybe you can handle something a little bit more manageable, like the sun versus the entire galaxy. The sun is our only globe of fire in our particular solar system, and that represents Leo. And then, of course, we got Sagittarius, which is mutable fire. And that fire we're going to talk about when we get to Mr. Sagittarius. So, in keeping with that analogy, let's go and now continue with the How to Understand an Aries Part 2. Hope you don't mind having a little drink. I've been up since 5:30 this morning. It's work to do this. Papa is busy. If you're dealing with an Aries man who is a quiet type, now we're going to start talking about the different types, and I'm going to jump in. I'm going to throw them in as we go along. But don't be fooled. He is only putting a show or a cloak of innocence. He will smile and act nice and respectful. And once he's convinced you that he is, respectful, nice, sweet, predictable, yeah, right, that you have fallen for him. Once he knows that you have fallen for him, he'll do a bait and switch on you. And suddenly, the god of Mars shows himself in full gear right before your eyes. Oh, what you thought? That just because he was sweet and nice and quiet, that the energy of Mars wasn't there all along? It was just a cloak. Once he gets you in, he locks the doors with all kinds of locks. And then the real person emerges. Mr. Scorpio is the same way. He'll lure you in, put his best foot forward, and once he knows that you're in the lair, that you can't run back out because then the cobwebs will keep you in thick, then he comes and starts to spin you and spin you and spin you in the web. That's the psychological behavior of control. So now you can't move. You're under his control, and then he can do with you what he wants. And then when he's done with you, he'll sting you and cause you to die in your own fluids. That's the psychology of Mr. Scorpio. Not that much different from Aries, but except that Aries don't want to go there with you. You know. But again, if he gets angry and resentful because you did something, then that type of Aries will come out. But going back to the quiet one, see, the quiet one may show that he is nice to you, but out of your sight. He is that Aries that we all come to know and love. Maybe he's a good boy to you. No. But go to his job. Go to his job. And you're going to find that a whole different person. Aries in love. Well, Aries is in love with love. He's worse than Mr. Libra. But Mr. Libra is restless, but Aries is thoughtful. Libra is reckless and thoughtless, but Aries is thoughtful. See? But the catch is, he has to be completely in love, head over heels in love. He wants a storybook romance. In his head, he is Leonardo DiCaprio in the Titanic. Storybook. In fact, that movie represents the typical Aries heroic tragic love affair in which when that love is lost, it can never be recovered. You know, when Jack, right, in the Titanic was sinking, Jack, you know, and the bitch never married. She reached to be, what, 90-something years old? They took her back to the Titanic to watch the movie, you know, and then she had that thing all along and then threw it in the ocean. Love lost. Love never be able to, there'll never be another Jack. That's the romantic idealism of Aries. Another one is, for those of you that are in my generation, right? We can say Pretty Woman with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. That's very Aries. It has to be, you know, he was a man that was rich and wasn't satisfied with his life, and he wanted that ideal romance. So every prostitute that he took to bed or took to that romantic date experience was to recapitulate that idealism. That's why he dressed her up, gave her pearls, jewels, and in the movie, he wanted to match an idealism in his head of what a pretty woman is and would be, not just on the outside, but on the inside and everything. It's a very well done movie because it speaks to the psyche of the Aries man, that no woman can ever match his idealism. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go along. In fact, it never obtained. Psychologically speaking, he wants a storybook romance. The problem becomes for the woman, that kind of storybook romance, that kind of storybook romance has no reference point for the woman. You know? What kind of storybook romance is he working from? Can you buy it in a bookstore? Is it a fairy tale that you can buy at a Barnes and Nobles? You know, is there such an idealism in our fairy tale books that can even come close to that type of idealism of his? See? And that's something that the woman is never gonna really know. She's not a mind reader. He will not give her a heads up as to what specifically he requires of her in order to keep that illusion of romance in his head alive. And that's kind of fucked up. It's fucked up. Because throw her a bone. Let her know from what image and from what reference points you're working on. But none of that is he doesn't make that available to her. He expects her to know and expects her to act in due course. She needs, if she wants to keep him, to maintain an aura around the relationship of pure bliss and ecstasy. She can't even burp or fart in front of him. Because that could be enough to break the illusion. And that's the thing. You just don't know where he's coming from. You know, it's almost like, well, you just don't know because he doesn't let you know. You know, he expects you to maintain the illusion of romance. And that illusion has to be so perfect that that's what's going to keep the fire going. So basically, he wants to stay in a honeymoon phase. And the minute that honeymoon phase of the relationship is over or it starts to dwindle down, he jumps to the next bitch. He do. But this you can control. Remember, Aries is the baby. You're going to have to watch what you say around him. You have to be careful with your words. You have to put an act for this man. If this man walks in the door from work or from wherever, you better greet him like it was the first time you've met him. Have his drink ready. Have his food ready. Pamper him. Baby him. I know it sounds like a lot of work. And it is a lot of work. But he's an Aries. He is who he is. The baby. So if you don't give him attention, he's going to find it somewhere else. And he might really care for you. He might even love you. If he's with you, he's in love with you until the magic wears off. And that part, you are going to have to kind of like work on it. You have to keep the magic and illusion alive. But here's the thing. He's not going to be Prince Charming either. You know, he could be an asshole. And even with that, you still have to treat him like he's the best thing that's ever happened to you and that you just met and keep, you know. So if you're pissed at him and he wants to have sex, what do? Are you going to have sex with him while you're angry and resentful? That's only going to make you hate him worse. Because as a baby, he's not going to consider your feelings. He's not going to consider your emotions. That is an afterthought. If at all, you might have to bring it to his attention that he has hurt you, that he has infringed upon you, and do it in a way where it doesn't sound like you're accusing him or scolding him. Remember, you won't do that to a baby. A baby is a baby, and a baby's going to do what they're going to do. As the parents, we have to correct them. It sounds like a lot of fucking work. I know. But the psychology of an Aries man is a baby. And not just, because there's a lot of lack of awareness. You know? If you don't understand his background, his personal story, you might not know where he's coming from and why he's thinking in the way that he's thinking. That means that you're going to have to do some homework to figure out from what basis this man is coming from. Or you're not going to understand him, and you're certainly not going to keep him. Cannot even, oh my goodness. If he wakes up and looks your way in the bed and smells your bad breath, we all got morning breath. And hair ain't done. How is it going to be done? You were just sleeping, you know? And then you get up and he hears you fart. Or it could be anything. And that's what's so scary about Aries. Anything could turn him off. Remember, the opposite sign is Libra. And Libra men can be real prissy boys. They could be worse than women. Worse than women. The Aries man, in a way, that's his inner feminine. An Aries man, inner feminine, is Libra. Just like a Libra man's inner feminine is Aries. So he's getting his women to be extremely feminine, extremely pretty, flawless. In fact, don't let him get up first. You get up first and put some makeup on before he gets out of bed. Yeah, that's how you gotta do. That's how you gotta do. You gotta keep that image up. And he won't tell you that that's what he wants. He'll just decide that he don't like you no more, or he don't love you no more. Won't give you a reason, then walk out the door. And then you're fucked. You don't know what happened. The illusion broke. Yeah. Yeah. If you have a quiet type, going back to that, he'll be no different than the others. I'll tell you. He's all Aries, just not in front of you. If you were to follow him all day without him knowing, you'll be absolutely shocked at what you'll discover. This type of man is probably a womanizer. Now, Aries is known for being a womanizer. But, again, and it sounds like I'm being contradictory, but understand that even though I mentioned that Aries is extremely faithful, and he's really not the cheater type, but he certainly is the flirter type, if I can say that. He's the flirt type. Why? If he starts to flirt, and you suspect that he's starting to flirt, now he ain't messing around at you, but he's flirting. That's a warning sign that he's getting bored with you. He's getting bored with you. And the bubble or the honeymoon phase is fading. So now he's looking for excitement. A brand new experience that will make him feel more of a man than you did. That will worship him. That he wants to see worship in her eyes when she looks at him. He wants to see her drool with lust for his body. He wants to see that. He never wants to lose that image of himself in your eyes for him. Now, it's not realistic, I know, because all of us go through our honeymoon phase and then the shit really begins. The hard work really begins. But Aries, unless he's really in love, fully in love, is not going to invest in the hard work. He could be lazy. He'll move when he wants, and when he does, he'll get much results. He'll waste 12 hours in a day, but on the 13th hour, he'll make up all the 12 hours that he had, or supposedly in your eyes, had wasted for the day. This man is industrious and he's very productive. It's really what he's good at. And he wants his romance to kind of have that same ecstasy, that same, adrenaline, that cortisone that comes out, that excitement, that those butterflies in your stomach. He wants to feel that constantly. And that can be exhausting, especially for the woman who has to keep up that image for him. A womanizer is a clear indication that your man is about to cheat on you. It may not happen right away, but then again, if you got the right woman that really knows how to work his pants, she got him. Because, she is coaxing his ego. Again, a baby. Coaxing the ego. Believe it or not, the Aries man is not a cheater. He really is not a cheater unless he no longer feels that again, like I mentioned, he no longer feels the relationship doesn't have the magic and the romantic illusion which caused him to fall in love with you in the first place. Okay? Remember, love to him is an idealism that is not based on reality. Even if it were, it never is long lasting because it's not meant to be. It's not designed to be. Aries men don't like games. That's for sure. The Aries man doesn't like to play games. Okay? They don't believe in cheating on you again. If he does, then in his mind, it's your fault. You let yourself go and did not fulfill your portion of the contract. Now, contract? What are you talking about? Now, what contract? Here's the thing. The Aries man, when he's develops or goes into a relationship with you, he is writing in his mind a contract. Remember, the opposite sign of Aries is Libra. Libra rules the court system, the judicial system, lawyers, paralegals, contracts, and the whole. So he has made a quiet contract with you without you knowing that if you were ever to fuck up, if you let the illusion of love and romance and fantasy, which is an idealism in his heart and mind that is based on something that you and I will never know, then it's your fault if I start cheating on you or stepping out of the relationship. Ain't that some fucking shit? He creates a contract in his head. How much time he's going to be with you. What time of span he's going to be with you. And if he don't get what he wants, and if that fulfillment that he's looking for constantly in every woman is not fulfilled by you, then he is to walk away. Leave you. And he will let you know. Oh my God, he will let you know. He will never mince words. And he's never going to leave you guessing as far as the finality of the relationship. But before it gets to that point, he's not going to let you know what his requirements are in order for you to keep him. He's going to expect you to figure that out for yourself, by yourself. Because if you don't, then that to him means that you don't really give a shit about him. That you don't really care enough about him to invest time and energy to get to know him, to understand what his needs are. Now that might have some basis in truth, but it works both ways. It works both ways, and Aries does not want to put his part of the bargain as far as communicating what his needs are. You know. He likes women to be and act ultra feminine, delicate, but not timid. She needs to be confident, but not a bitch. She can't be too shy or timid. She also, in being feminine, must also make the switch to being a tomboy, all at the same time. There is no ideal woman in all of his fantasies that will reach or match that ideal of his, whatever that image is. Mortal women don't have a fighting chance against such an image, such an idealism. They don't know how to compete with that. He can be very, very tragic. Very, very tragic. But if he doesn't love you, I'm telling you, he's going to let you know. And he, gets better with time and with age. When this man grows up, you might not even be there. Because he wears his women out. But by the time he becomes the type of man that you want him to be, he'll be in his 40s. 40s, 45. He'll get it by then. And then he will be ready to change and develop a relationship based on real values and on the real person in front of him. We're done with how to understand the Aries man.